You've got questions, we've got answers. Welcome to the Therapist Question Box, where trauma-trained therapists tackle real questions from real people. I'm your host, Lindsay bringing you grounded insights you can actually use, brought to you by Therapy Utah. Welcome back to another episode of the Therapist Question Box. We are here to answer your mental health questions. Whether you're asking for yourself or just asking for a friend, we want to know what's on your mind. Today I have with me Kim Millett, right, Kim?
Yes.
Kim and I have been friends for a long time, and I think I've gotten your name wrong for a very long time, so my apologies.
No problem.
You just know you're in good company with me with the last name, the challenge with the last name, right?
Exactly.
So,
I don't think I'd even know if I say your name right.
You probably
so
don't, and
right.
it's okay. It's fine. Well, Kim, Kim is the relationship expert here at Therapy Utah, and so today we're going to ask a question about relationship. And so here is a listener question. It is this: my partner and I keep having the same fights over and over, and I'm starting to feel like more alone in relationship than supported. We both say we want things to be better, but nothing changes. How do we break out of this cycle and actually start feeling connected again? So I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard this type of question, right?
It's such a normal question.
So normal.
In fact, probably most marriages have some type of a pattern that feels frustrating that they just keep repeating.
Totally. So why do couples get stuck in patterns? Like, why do they get stuck in these same patterns even though they're frustrated?
Because we're human. But I would like I just want to make a little clarification here and on what is a couple dynamic, which is us getting stuck in a pattern together, versus what I call unfairness, which is what we call impact therapy. If somebody's doing some kind of behavior that's unfair, it's untrustworthy. So that would include things like an addiction, domestic violence, or even anger that's so much that you're feeling like you're walking on eggshells, right? If you have some infidelity, which is not keeping your sexual agreements that you both feel like you should keep. So if you've got dishonesty, let me put that in there, but that's not like I'm not being honest about how I'm feeling. That's like I just took a loan out and didn't tell you, right? Yeah. So if someone's got one of those elements of unfairness, those things, that person who's doing that needs to do the work and get that contained, get that out in the open and working on that, because if you have one of those, that will blow up whatever work you're trying to do in regular marriage patterns that we get stuck in. So a person that's also doing unfairness could also blame the marriage for one of those regular marriage things. And so you need to be really clear on what's unfairness, and that needs to be contained. It's not something that the other person really has anything to do with. So let's just put that out there. Okay. And then the other dynamic thing is that idea that almost like I do something and that pushes you to do something, and then that pushes you to do something. So for instance, if I'm harsh, that may push my spouse to be defensive. And then the more he's defensive, the harsher I get. And
that's where the cycle happens,
right? That is a cycle, and that is a dynamic. Yep. And that's what couples therapy is all about, because it's about coming in and working on that piece together, which is the most effective way to do it. Not that you can't do your own work and still have some impact, but the best work is to do it together.
Okay. I want to talk about a couple of things that you said. You said unfairness. So unfairness is anger, infidelity, dishonesty. So it sounds like it's really one person focus. Like it's one person that's acting unfairly. It's that big anger
that like nobody can approach that person because they just have, it's big anger. It's not just normal anger,
yes.
Right?
But really saying that's a one-person job. Yes. Like that person needs to figure out what's going on with them and why they're showing up poorly, right?
Yes. Good phrase. One-person job.
A one-person job. You got to figure that out. But gosh, that takes introspection. That takes awareness and saying, gosh, I am not as honest as I could be. I actually get angry, and really getting honest with ourselves instead of saying, let's go to couples therapy and will you fix her or fix him? I mean, I feel like that's what happens in couples therapy. They each look at each other and go, they're the problem, right?
Yes.
But when you've got unfairness, that's a That's an inside job.
Yes, it's an inside job, but that person may have to require them and say, hey, this doesn't work for me, that you have this element of unfairness. Like this lie, this cheating, this doesn't work for me. And so they may have to kind of require them to address it, but they're not going to fall into any kind of idea that part of it is their fault.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. That totally makes sense. And then the second part is that we get into a cycle. You do something, then the partner reacts, and then you do something again, and the partner reacts, right? So it's this cycle that keeps happening. When you were talking about that, I thought how important it is to understand and see cycles. So tell our listeners why it's so important to understand when you're stuck in a cycle.
Yes. So we are all what I call threat monsters.
Ooh, I like
that. We have
that.
this nervous system that when you feel some pain, some hurt, some, just didn't feel seen, your nervous system is going to take that on as threat unless you get a quick repair. And then it stores it in your body. And then your nervous system is ready to get reactive and to assume it already knows what's going on before it really does in a new situation. And if you can recognize that all of our nervous systems work like that, and so our nervous system isn't very relational in conflict, if that makes sense. So we love it when we're connecting and we're the safe person for each other, our nervous system's like that. But when we get in conflict, we automatically it's more natural, I should say, to become a one-person system than a two-person system. It's automatically to be an I instead of a we. But the magic is that as adults who can take care of themselves, I always say, you have car keys, you can leave. Right? As a kid,
Amen.
You couldn't.
Yep.
Right? That you can actually operate as a we. I can say whatever I need to say without the harshness, without just being an I. So an I would look like I'm just not going to be careful with my words. I'm just going to tell you like it is. I don't care if it's harsh. Right? But a we says, wait a minute, there's probably a story on the other side. Right? I need to say this so that it lands well, and that way I get what I want as well. I really do care about hurting them, so I'm going to do it quickly and carefully, but an I, it's almost like doesn't see all that. So an I, let me give you one more thing. What I call being regulated, when you're regulated, you do okay. So you can bring that calmness and that peace to your own body, to your nervous system. And if you're regulating, you can still have your problem and remember that you love your spouse.
Yes.
And the importance of the relationship and not to damage it. And that's what I call being regulated. If you're in the middle of something and you can't get to that place of we or I love you and the relationship, then you're just not regulated.
So that is a really important thing, is getting regulated, right? We talk about that a lot, but I will tell clients, if you are not regulated, nothing else matters. Like unless the house is on fire,
Exactly.
You get yourself in a better place. Go and breathe, take a beat, walk, move, do something till you can feel your body calm back down.
Yes, and you can do a check by do I feel that sense of love for my spouse and the care for our relationship or not? Then I'm probably still not regulated.
That's right. That's right. So when you talk about regulation is number one. I always think that if people are not regulated, nothing else matters. So pay attention to your body, take a deep breath, go on a walk, move your body, write in your journal, do something, because you cannot show up as a we if you're not okay as an I.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And just like you were saying that there is no emergency. The issues that we have plenty of time to slow down. They don't need to be, completely decided exactly right now. And so we want to do it effectively.
Yes.
Which is in a collaborative way where nobody feels dropped. So we call that in PAC therapy secure functioning, that you don't feel dropped and I don't feel dropped. But when I see couples, the ones who can get out of these patterns successfully are the ones who are humble.
So big.
Humility, graciousness, that ability to stay in that two-person if you really want it and you can feel that, it's going to go well. Or you can stay stuck in this pattern forever if you're going to stay in that protective, prideful place.
Okay, let's ask this though, because there's a reason people are not humble in this situation, because they feel like they are being threatened. Something, they have to defend something. Something's going on where they're like, no, if I'm humble, then I feel like I'm a filleted fish and you can do whatever you want with me. So no, thank you, right? How do we, humility, I guess the question is humility requires also some internal safety, but some external safety as well within the relationship.
Yes, and that's why we contain that unfairness, because unfairness is about trust, because your foundation of your relationship is trust. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have trust, then you're going to work on trust.
And that unfairness is actually such a big deal.
Yes.
Is actually recognizing where there's unfairness, because if there is unfairness, you're right, it would erode trust. Yeah. It's not even there.
Yes, and there is an ability, especially if you're a little bit more insecurely attached, where you want people to be like you and same and safety, the kind that you have from your parents. It's not quite the same. We need to be trust, but we need to be able to be different, to be able to both be authentically who we are and flawed and accepted. And that is more about, I trust you're not going to do anything untrustworthy. You're a trustworthy person. I can have a relationship with you if you're trustworthy, right? You don't have to be like me. You don't have to agree with me, but you do need to be trustworthy. And then we're going to go to a switching of energy. So just like you were talking about, like you have an energy in relationships, and this was developed. So when you get with somebody, you're actually starting to create something, a relationship. And again, in PAC therapy, we say relationship is like, it's not real in that I can't take a picture of it. It's just a picture of you and I. So we create it. And whatever we created, sometimes we accidentally, every couple is going to have a little bit of what might feel like a battlefield instead of a garden. So we want the environment or the energy to feel like a garden. We're working together. Now, you may not want it to feel like any work at all, and that's just not realistic.
Want the garden to grow on its own.
Exactly.
And that'd be nice.
And that's not realistic. Yeah. But you can recognize, does this feel more like a battle? I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to have proving energy. You can tell when someone's trying to prove, and you're proving over the other person, so the other person's the loser, right?
We have all felt that before.
For sure.
When we're improving energy, right? Like whether it's in a relationship, with friends, at work, like I'm trying to prove something. That's a horrible feeling.
Yes, and no one is going to want to be near you.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
100%.
I heard this one, I think it was Jennifer Finlayson Fife, and she said she had a client who was on a calendar checking like how many times they had sex and how long they had sex, because he was going to prove they didn't have enough sex.
Oh, no.
And she
Did that help their sex life?
She said, I hope that your calendar loves you because your nut wife never will. Yeah.
Amen.
And it's just like,
horrible
it just
approach.
Doesn't work. Maybe you're not actually having the satisfying sex life that you want, but that is not the approach. The battlefield is never the right approach. The garden is the approach, which is we're doing this together. And a relationship, if you can keep your purpose in mind, so even like when we say relationships aren't real, think about a group, a rock band. They make music together, right? And they have to love that music, but they also will be governed by their group. In other words, they understand that they have to practice, that they have to let other instruments be heard, that they have to, somebody be okay with somebody's quirkiness or somebody's different things. But you remember that you actually love to play the music together. And so as a couple, you can lose track of that in those cycles, that we actually have a purpose. Why are we good? Why does 1 + 1 actually equal 3? Why is it great to not be alone and to have somebody there to have my back? And just remember that so that you'll protect that and you won't be that band that breaks up.
I love that. You know what? I that reminder of enjoy the music together. Gosh, I think that is so powerful, because there was something that brought two people together. And there was music, right? There's this dance that happens, and it's music, and it's wonderful, and you can lose sight of that so quickly. Like when that music is gone, it's like, what did we even have that we liked? Why did we decide to be together? I was listening yesterday to a little clip, and it was Arthur Brooks, and he said, you know what? One of the biggest things couples need to do is remember having fun together. Like laughing and having fun together. It seems so basic, but actually when you're in this cycle, you're not having fun. You're not laughing. You're not connecting.
Yeah, and you you lose faith. So when you're having enough connection, and again, this doesn't take anybody special to do this. It's about, I always say, spending the last hour, my clients all know this, spending the last hour of the day together, having time on the weekend, really showing care for each other, that it, like, you can do it. You'll get this idea that there's enough connection that it off balances any of that conflict. Because the conflict's going to happen. It's not going to feel great, but you have faith that you can get through it. And see, imagine a couple who doesn't have that faith that it works out and we get back to connection. Then we get dysregulated.
That's right.
Right? A couple that has the faith that they know we're going to get back to connection, they don't get dysregulated because they already have that faith that it's all going to be okay.
You know, that is a huge deal. When at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? I know I've got your back and you got mine. We're having a moment, but this isn't going to end. We're not 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Like, we're in it together. But when that starts to erode and the safety of actually the connection, the relationship is gone, well, then everyone's fighting for their lives, really.
The threat monster is in charge.
Threat monster is in charge. Yes.
And it's really hard because when you've made these patterns, this is truly hard. You actually have to act relationally, kindly, caring, even though the threat monster is a little bit wanting to do something different. Terry Real calls this relational heroism. It's like your whole body wants to protect, fight back, say the mean, harsh word, and you do something relationally instead. It's like a true miracle. And you have to keep doing that until you get that faith, until it's worked out enough times that it feels good to your nervous system. But that's what's so hard, is that you have to kind of do it while it doesn't feel very good.
Ooh, that's huge. It's action first. Like, we
Yes.
actually have to take action, and then the faith might come. But taking that action is extremely vulnerable, right? To say, like, I'm gonna act as a we instead of an I, when it feels like, oh no, that I just protecting me feels so much safer. Why would I want to be a we right now? Because I don't even like this person, right? But saying, no, that's the choice I make. I take action towards who I want to be, where I want the relationship to be.
Yeah, sometimes I will think of it like there's a relationship, there's you and the other person. If you stay in a we mindset, you have a good day. And if your spouse goes in the one person mindset, they have a bad day and the relationship has a mixed day. But
okay, say that again. Here we go. Go ahead.
Okay,
one more time.
Let's reverse the order. If your spouse has a bad day, they go into that one person mindset. They don't protect the relationship. Okay. But you choose to stay in that we mindset and protect the relationship, not go harsh, right? That means he had a bad day, you had a good day, and the relationship had a mixed day.
Again, I like that.
And it'll work out. It's far more effective for you to stay in a we mindset, even if your spouse doesn't. And that's kind of the magic of boundaries. Because I'll always tell people, if you're really good at boundaries, a person doesn't even know they got it. They're like, oh, that makes sense. But you can protect yourself while still being relational and not losing kind of your values and then feeling shame about how you showed up poorly.
Yes. That reminder of, gosh, we could do a whole episode on that, actually. When people don't know your boundaries, you're doing it really well because you're protecting you, and in fact, you're protecting the relationship as well. Boundaries are so kind. Sometimes it's hard to remember that. But that reminder that when we're in the we part of the relationship, there are so many times where I will work with couples and they won't say it out loud, but it's basically like, I can't do this because she acts this way. I can't be my highest and best self because he acts this way. So how do you help couples stay in their values, live the way they want to live, even if their spouse isn't showing up the way that they would like?
Well, one way that I would say is instead of pointing out what somebody's doing wrong, every complaint has a need. And you can almost be at like, hey, can you do me? It would be a favor to me. That way there's not this big battle of who's right, who's wrong. Do you need this? I just say, hey, this is a situation I'm feeling right now. It would be a really big favor to me if you could do this. And a lot of people respond well to that, right?
And that reminder, every complaint has a need.
And the complaint can go unsaid usually.
Yeah. But when you're talking about the naggy wife, what's the need underneath it?
There's something good there.
There's something going on there to look at.
And it usually is just a favor.
Yeah.
Like, when you come home and I've had a really hard day, it would just be so great if you would just come and give me a hug and ask me how my day was. Could you do that? That would really help me. Sure.
But sometimes that doesn't happen, by the way, right? That would take an emotionally regulated woman to say that, or a person to say that. It's easier to just go, you know what, you just come home and all you do is this, instead of this is my need. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes. And so that it points out that as a person who's actually does a we mindset, you have to actually feel that you're worth it.
Yes.
And that's often you already have an underlying, I don't feel like I'm worth it. And so I reach out in a way that is like battleground way.
Yeah.
Right.
But also part of that is if I say, when you get home from work, I need you to do this. This would feel loving and supportive to me. That's vulnerable.
That's vulnerable.
That's hard, because then if the partner is like, well, thanks, but I'm still going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's painful.
That is painful.
Right? And so it's easier to just complain and try to go around it instead of saying, this is my need, and then hope that they take your need and care about your need.
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Like, I love the idea, and yet that's what I love about this, is like saying, really, what does this look like in real life? How do we do this? Because the ideas are so important, but it's hard to do them.
It's hard to do. And that might even take, in that situation, the spouse forgetting and then you getting triggered, dysregulated, and you taking a minute and doing something relational, like, oh, remember? And then your spouse is right there, right? And so if they don't, this is back in the Gottman, like if they don't answer the first bid, give them another chance. I always say 3 times before you get all dysregulated, because you're kind of trying to help them help you.
Yeah.
Right? I've asked you, you know this. Now if it goes off, I can more easily help you help me. I can just put a reminder out there. But I stay in that faith that you want to help me, that you get me. I'm not going to take the little bad moods or the I forgots as personally.
Yes.
Because that's the threat monster.
Yeah, I like the threat monster. I like that we're naming that. There's a threat monster. But again, I keep thinking, like, that's the garden mentality. Like, no, we're growing something. I want to keep showing up. I want to keep showing up kind, and I want to keep giving an opportunity. And I'm not going to show up with my guns a-blazing and, my fists raised because I'm ready to fight. Like, there's a very big difference with what you just said and thinking of that analogy of the garden versus the battlefield.
Yes. And notice that when you win a battle, like that vindication, it feels really great, probably better than planting a garden together.
Because it's immediate. You immediately feel like,
Yes.
I won. Congratulations. Look, they're dying on the floor.
Yes.
They're dying on the battlefield. And the garden takes a lot of watering and sunlight and growth and patience.
Yes, but the fruits are there and it's worth it. But again, you have to have the faith to believe that if you keep kind of working at it and staying in the we system, then it'll be okay. It'll be okay. We just don't give it enough time. We don't recognize how big the threat monster has really gotten for us.
Yes.
And again, it's for everybody. And I heard another thing I really liked, and it was like, it's all about a failure of compassion. So I get hurt. I feel like you don't care about me. And in my automatic threat rumination happening, suddenly I can't remember that I care about you. And now we're in our cycle.
Yes.
If I can
because
get,
the threat monster's so big.
Yes.
You've got to protect yourself, and it's not about the other person, it's about yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why compassion can help you when you get hurt, when your feelings get hurt, when something happens, which is going to happen because we're humans and we just accidentally do things, or maybe we're in a bad mood and we unpurposely do things, right?
That's right.
We can give ourselves self-compassion and slow down and figure out what was your hurt, what is your need, and just
You're saying you ask yourself that.
totally. So this is a skill. You should be not just coming at your spouse, right? Without first having sit down, regulated, figuring out what your pain, what your hurt was, and what you would want instead.
And let's just take a minute to talk about that. That's a lot of work in and of itself.
Yeah.
Get clear about what's going on for you. Get regulated before you're coming and saying, here's what I need. Here's what's going on. And I would also say the act of self-compassion, really practicing self-compassion, is not easy. It is not a skill that comes naturally to most people. I always send them to Kristen Neff, have her look at the workbook, go watch her TED Talk, because it is a skill that we really have to work on.
Yes. I always say it's the most important therapy skill.
Is self-compassion.
Is self-compassion. I have a little a sheet with the podcast, and I'm like, this is what we have to learn. And it is the most important therapy. But remember, self-compassion and then compassion for my partner. Mm-hmm. Right?
Self-compassion and
That's
compassion
like
for partner.
Adult relational living. So this stuff we're talking about is just adult relational living. And I do have a video of when my husband and I first got married.
How long ago, Kim?
It was 34 years ago.
Okay.
And we were so immature. I'm like, we were babies.
Right.
Like just the conversation we were having on this video is just a reminder.
By the way, that's amazing. You have a video. I love that so much.
Of how young
Yeah.
we are. And so give ourselves a break, because this is relational living like this. It's skills. It's learning how to do it. And so.
And you know what? Both people, your husband came from his own set of experiences. You came from your own, good and bad. And then you bring it together, and holy cow, there is some beauty and some disaster that happens in all of that.
But it's gardening.
But it's gardening, right?
It's gardening.
Yeah.
It's gardening. And we just get mixed up. And it's hard to put people out of the battlefield and into the gardening. That takes time.
Yeah.
It really is hard.
Especially when you've been in a cycle like our listener is talking about, and you've been used to being in the battlefield. Getting into the garden can feel vulnerable, and it can feel uncomfortable. But one of the things you said is it's action first. It's actually saying, I choose to step into the garden and out of the battlefield. I'm done being in the battlefield. It's not working.
Yes. And it's actually awareness first before action, because then I can check my energy. So I would tell clients, sit down and maybe with your spouse, just write down words and feelings, and which one feels more like battle and which one feels more like supporting each other through gardening. And really kind of like tell yourselves, hey, we're going to watch our energy with battle and gardening, and really try and figure this out. Really try together get over to the garden. And the nice thing is, you make a mistake, you repair. And you repair in such an emotional, good way that you put yourself back in the garden.
So good. I've heard that. It's not about the rupture. It's not about the argument. It's really about the repair. And actually, you can become closer if you have a good repair. If you're able to come back together and do it in a loving way. I know for me, I have felt that, oh my gosh, I feel closer to my husband after we've had a disagreement or something's gone wrong. If we can come back together and I feel seen and understood and he feels seen and understood, I'm like, oh, I feel closer to you than I did before.
Exactly. And
It's
I would
pretty
say the same thing happens when you do that on the front end. So if you take that time to bring it up in a relational, caring way, that both those things actually bring quite a bit of intimacy to the relationship.
So what you just said, I want to talk about, because I love that perspective. And I feel this way with all therapy, with all mental health work, with couples, individuals, that you get to decide where you're going to spend the time, on the front end or the back end. You get to spend time being proactive or reactive. You get to spend time planting the garden or cleaning up the battlefield. You get to decide, because guess what? You're going to spend time either way. And you get to decide what part you're going to spend time on and where you're going to spend the time, either on the proactive part and establishing good things and patterns and behaviors, or cleaning it up on the other end.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, why would you want to spend time cleaning it up?
Yeah.
Spend time on the proactive side.
Yeah. And that's the garden energy.
That's
so
right.
That is the loving, caring, we person energy. And the other is just not being able to have the faith to let those walls down, right? To let those protective walls down so you're still in the battle. And I know it's hard because it feels It's that heroism. It feels like you should stay on the battlefield.
Totally. Because it feels safer. At least I got a gun. At least I have some type of weapon, right? And all I've got in the garden is my little trowel. That doesn't help. That's not going to help anything. Come on. Especially though, when, like our listener said, they're used to being in that cycle. It's almost like our nervous systems get used to something. And so we keep going back there.
You know, they really do.
100%.
And they get used to the familiar. And that's how you get your childhood stuff. Sometimes you have familiar patterns, unhealthy patterns there that are happening again, just because isn't the nervous system crazy? It's the threat monster. It doesn't really care that you're in a loving relationship. It wants the safety of familiarity.
That's right.
And protection. It would have you live in a cave by yourself.
But when you understand that, it makes more sense.
Yes.
It's not like, oh my gosh, we're broken. We don't know how to do this. It's like, wait, give yourself credit, give yourself grace. It's actually familiar. Our brain will go to familiar before it will go to anything else. It's safety first, familiar, safe, right?
Yes.
Even if it's the battlefield. So
yes. So do the unfamiliar, and everybody's nervous system is also very teachable. That's what people don't recognize. Through the action, you can teach it. You can become like a friend to your nervous system. And
Kim, you gave us so many good examples and nuggets here. I hope people really will take notes and listen and re-listen, because so many good thoughts and reminders. I loved the reminder of a garden versus a battlefield. I'm going to go back to that every time.
That actually comes from Sarah Baldwin. I was listening to one of her ones on You Make Sense, and I just thought, oh, that is what I see. That's what I see, how hard it is to get people from the battlefield to the garden.
I love that. So good. And understanding self-compassion. I love that you said it's the very beginning number one tool of therapy is understanding self-compassion. Huge. That every complaint has a need. Every complaint has a need. It's not a nag. There's something going on underneath it. See what's going on underneath it. The last hour of the day. I thought that was a great actionable thing. The last hour of the day, spending it together and remembering that there's music, enjoying the music together. What is it that you guys like to do? Where are you having fun together? If it is all about work and kids and tasks, it's not going to be fun. That's not going to be great. So I love that. And then the final thing is action first. Sometimes we just think, okay, maybe when I feel better, I'll act better. No, sometimes we got to fake it till we make it. We got to act, and then the feeling will come, right?
Yes, and it's more that befriending your nervous system. You're trying to show your nervous system it's okay. This is the better way to do it. Like, this gives us the results that we want. And so that you can it's almost like befriending the nervous system. So it's not so much faking it. Does that make sense?
Okay, I like that. Befriending it, not faking it. Let's restate that. Befriend your nervous system. Well, Kim, thank you so much for being with us. What an insightful conversation. And I always learn a lot from you. So thank you, and always fun to be with you.
Well, always fun to be with you. It was fun.
Yes, so good. Well, thank you, listeners, for joining, and appreciate your support of us. And again, write in, let us know what is on your mind so we can help you. We want to be a resource for you. We want to share the things that have helped our clients to help you. We hope this was helpful for you, and until next time, take care. That's a wrap for today on the Therapist Question Box. I'm Lindsay Schiss. Thanks for listening, and remember, every question you ask is an opportunity to learn and grow. Brought to you by Therapy Utah.
Hey, this is Kathy Kinghorn. I'm an owner at Therapy Utah. If you'd like to book with one of our trauma-trained therapists, go to www.therapyutah.org. Thanks for listening.